Hi students, welcome back to JP Physics Academy. This is Naresh Babu Javaji. Students, in the last video we discussed about the types of units and their symbols also. So in this case, now today's class, in this video we are going to discuss about the rules for writing the units and what are the precautions, what we have to follow the rules and regulation to write the units of each and every physical quantity. Okay students, are you ready? Let's go to the video. So rules for writing the units. Rules for writing the units. So students, there are 6 rules only. So let us try to know that each and every rule. Okay na? First one is rule number 1. Rule number 1. What is the rule number 1? Use the small letters only. Use the small letters only. Students, when we go to write the units of any physical quantity, just we have to use that small letters for representation of the units. So for example, there are 6 meters. There are 6 meters. Don't use the capital letters, students. Just we have to use the small letters. Don't use the capital letters and use the small letters. This is the wrong method. This is the correct method. This is the right rule only. Okay na? So once again students, rule number 1, when we go to write that, when we write the units, okay na? When we write the units, don't use the capital letters. Just we have to use the small letters only. We should represent any unit of every physical quantity in small with the small letters only. This is the first rule of the representation of the units. Okay na? Then rule number 2. The second one is rule number 2. What are those? In case of compound units. In case of compound units. For example, compound units means meter per second is there, students. This is MKS unit of the speed, actually speed and velocity. Okay na? So when you go to write if you go to write about the unit, a representation of unit like this, meter per second, don't use like this, students. Okay na? So meter per second. Don't write the complete name of the unit only. Okay na? The meter per second. This is the wrong method. Meter, m for second. Yes is the correct method. Or we can write this meter per second. M for S is also meter second inverse of second. This is the correct method to representation of the unit of any physical quantity. This is the second method. Once again, students, in the case of the compound units means, students, in the case of units, if more than one unit is present in that unit, that we are calling as compound units. So here meter is not a compound unit. Kilometer not a compound unit. Second is not a compound unit, but kilogram, meter, okay na, meter per second, these are the compound units. Means in this case 2 units are present only. Okay, in this case 2 units are present only. In this case a single unit is present. In this case single unit is present. In this case a single unit is present. These kind of units if the unit present the more than one units, we are calling them as a compound units. Okay students, so this is the correct method to write the representation of the compound units. Okay students, then let's go to the third rule of the units. Rule number 3. What is the rule number 3? Sometimes we represent the units which are named, okay, which are named by the scientists to the order of their researchers in their respective fields only. Okay na? So, such as joule, Newton, okay, watt. Sorry. So this kind of units, when you go to represent, when you go to write, then we have to take the rule. What is that? For suppose scientist names. In case of scientist names, when you go to represent the units which are named of the scientists, how do we represent? So for suppose there are 20 newtons are there. 20 newtons. Okay na? So 20 newtons. Students, don't use, this is not a correct, this is the correct method. Means, what does it means? In this case, when we go to represent the any unit which are represented, which are honor of the scientist names, okay na? Don't start with capital letters. Don't start with a capital letter. Lower initial. We have to start with the lower initial letter only. Means when you write the complete name of the scientist, when you write the unit which are related to the complete name of the scientist, don't use the capital letter. Just we have to begin with a small letter only. This is not correct. This is the correct. Okay, student. For suppose 5 joules are there. Okay, na? 5 joules are there. This is not correct. Okay, na? Just 5 joules. Small letters. We have to start. We have to begin with the small letters. This is the correct method. This is the right. This is the wrong method. This is one of the rule. Okay. The next one is rule number 4. Rule number 4. This is a complete name. When you represent the unit with a complete name. Now, in this case, in case of, what is the rule number 4 is? In case of scientist names, a symbol of scientist name. Symbol of scientist names. Symbol of scientist names. Students, when you go to write the unit of any physical quantity which is symbol of the scientist names, symbol of the scientist names, how do we write this one? Symbol only we are writing, specifically I mentioned here on a symbol. So for suppose 20 newtons, 20 newtons, it is wrong, and 20 newtons, capital letter, it is the right answer. Okay, students. So when we go to write the unit of any physical quantity which is symbol of the scientist names, which is symbol of the scientist names, okay na? Only single letter if you want to represent that any unit, just we have to use the capital letter only. Okay na? Capital letter only. When we go to represent the unit of any physical quantity which is related to the scientist names, we have to use the single letter, that is capital N only. So in this case, for suppose 5 joules are there. Don't use a small letter, just 5, capital J is the correct one. It is the right, it is the wrong one. Okay, students? When we go to write, when you want to write the complete name of the scientist names units, okay na? The name of the unit, which for example newtons are there, okay na? When you write the complete name of the units, don't begin with a capital letter. Just we have to write that small letter only. We have to write the sentence, that name of the unit of scientist with a small letter, beginning of the small letter only. For suppose if you want to represent the same unit with a symbol, only a single letter, just we have to use the capital letter. When you write the complete name, starts with a small letter. When you want to represent that unit with a single letter, just we have to use the capital letter. Okay, students? The next one, rule number 5. Rule number 5. Rule number 5. What is the rule number 5? Don't use punctuation marks. Don't use the punctuation marks. Means full stop, commas, apostrophes, okay, exclamations. These are the punctuation marks only. After we write the unit, okay na, don't use any full stops, any commas only. For example, for suppose 100 newtons are there, for suppose 100 newtons, okay, we have not written, we represented this newton with a capital letter because of we are using the symbol only. That's why I didn't write the complete name of the newton. Simply I represented this newton with a capital letter, that is only I took that one single letter only. Okay na? Right. 100 newtons are there. So in this case, don't put the full stop here, just 100 newtons. This is the wrong, this is the correct ending. This is the 5th rule. Don't use any punctuation marks after you complete the unit, after you write the symbol of the unit. For suppose, one more example, for suppose 2 meters are there. 2 meters. This is the correct, but after the meters we don't put that any full stop or commas, okay na, or apostrophes, okay na, apostrophes, or exclamations like that. This kind of punctuations don't use after we write the symbol of the unit. This is the rule number 5. Okay, students. Then last and final, the rule number 6 is don't use plural form. Okay now. Don't use plural. Only use singular. Only use singular. Means students, for suppose 50 meters are there. Okay now, 50 meters. Don't use that plural and okay now. Don't use the plural. Just 50 meter. This is the correct answer. Of course, if the plural value also don't use that plural value, plural words only. So meters. This is the wrong. This 50 meter is the right answer. Okay, students. So once again, students, when you go to discuss about the rules for the writing of the units of any physical quantity, so these are the following of the rules for writing the any physical quantities only. Okay, na students, this is the end of today class. If you like this video, please share and like this video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on the bell icon for getting the first notification. This is the end of today class. And again in the next video with a new concept. Have a great day, students. Bye.